Hello everyone, my name is Jamie Abelson and I'm the Director of Programs at the League of Chicago Theaters. I want to thank you for joining us for the April 2023 episode of the League of Chicago Theaters Industry Podcast. The League is a nonprofit organization that is here to support, promote, and advocate for our membership of over 200 performing arts organizations across Chicagoland. This monthly podcast is for industry professionals and theater lovers to showcase the amazing performances and programs being created by Chicago's passionate theater community. Each month, we'll bring you industry updates, interviews, and performances from around the league, starting with a welcome from our Executive Director, Marissa Lynn Ford. Thank you for joining us, and keep up the good work.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the April podcast. So happy to share some news about what's going on at the League offices. First, I was so excited to see everyone at Steppenwolf for Congo Square Theater's production of How Blood Go. We had a wonderful industry night with a great turnout, and so I'm excited to continue to do that and bring people together. Thank you to all who attended, and thank you for your support to Congo Square. I'm also excited to talk about the Samuel Roberson grant, who went to an artivist this year, and that artivist was Tanika Lewis Johnson in partnership with Rivendell Theater, and so we are so excited. Congratulations to them in receiving that reward, and we're excited to see where that project goes next. To read more about it, please look to the broadcast about Tanika's project. If you have not got a call, received an email, seen a social media post, then where have you been? Because we have been talking about the Illinois Creative Recovery Grant, also known as the B2B grant, and it is money on the table for everyone, $50 million that can go to organizations and individuals. There's a lot of information that we want to make sure you get, so we are sending information out constantly because we want everyone to apply. Finally, I wanted to talk about the spring campaign that we are launching in partnership with Choose Chicago, DCASE, CLATA, Civil, See Chicago Dance, and the African American Arts Alliance. Go Live Chicago is bringing together all of our entities in theater, music, comedy, and dance in one platform on golivechicago.org, which will be launching very soon. And what we need you to do is to submit all of your events through the spring and summer so that they can find your shows and support each of you in your individual neighborhoods and spaces. Finally, while you're submitting all of your information, please remember to submit your opening nights and galas to the calendar because we want to be able to support each other in those spaces. That's just a little bit of what we have going on, and there's much more to come, so stay tuned here at the podcast and stay tuned to the broadcast email. Thank you so much.
Next up is our In the Community segment, where we interview members of the Chicago theater community about their exciting projects and programs. Today we'll be sharing excerpts from an interview with John Glover and AJ Wright from the Jeff Awards.
Hello, everyone. I'm Marissa Lynn Ford, and this is our community segment of the podcast. We're so happy to be here today with John Glover and AJ Wright from the Jeff Awards. We're welcoming them here into the office. Hello.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Great.
Thanks
We're
for having
excited
us.
to be here.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad to have you both. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. You know what question I get all the time? What is the Jeffs? Like, what are the Jeffs about? Who decides the Jeffs? Who nominates? What's this process? This whole mysterious, one day you're doing a show, the next day you're nominated. We get all these questions. And so I'm really glad you all are here to join us to just tell us everything about the Jeff Awards, what you all do, and the process. So first, what do you do for the Jeffs?
I am currently the chair of the Jeff Awards, so I oversee the mission, make sure that we're moving in the right direction. We can talk about this today. We've made a lot of changes internally within the awards organization. I was going to say, if you want to know everything there is about the Jeff Awards, you have like 3 days because we can share all kinds of stuff.
Okay, we'll see
good.
what we find out. And AJ, you are?
I'm the non-equity wing chair.
Okay.
So my focus is specifically on the non-equity theaters. I serve as a liaison between the Jeff Committee and the non-equity theaters, as well as produce the non-equity Jeff Awards that we just had this past March.
Wonderful. So who's Jeff anyway?
So the Jeff Awards were named after an actor in the late 1800s, I believe, named Joseph Jefferson. And he was well known for his portrayal of Rip Van Winkle, of all things. So, and why that individual prompted an entire awards organization being named after him, I'm not sure. I'm not quite that old. But yeah, but that's who it's named after. Yeah.
Wonderful. Can you tell us a little bit about the kind of strategic plan and where you all are at now in terms of the awards and, some of the initiatives that you have going on?
Sure. So as you are well aware, during COVID, there was no theater for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And we, as part of the awards organization, took that time to reevaluate a lot of our internal practices. Mm-hmm. Because when I became chair, I realized there was opportunity for growth and development. So out of those discussions came some pretty dramatic changes in that we added 2 new categories of theater to our awards. Mm-hmm. One being short-run productions, which are defined as shows that have between 9 and 17 performances. Because we realized there was a world of theater out there doing amazing things and they weren't getting the acknowledgement that they deserved. So we wanted to be more inclusive and allow those companies to also step up and be recognized. The second change was world language productions with subtitles.
Okay.
We had some conversation early on with the Chicago Latino Theater Alliance. Yeah. We had definitely issues that we owned in that we hadn't done our homework about what Latino theater actually existed in the city. So out of those conversations, which we felt were very productive, we developed this new category. The Latino Alliance was out in force at the award show, and many of those companies were duly recognized for outstanding work. So we've really done, I think, a great job in moving that relationship forward. Okay. Because it is about inclusivity. It must be about inclusivity. So those were 2 big changes we made. One of our barriers in recruiting new members is the time commitment. As you can imagine, we see...
This is great because that was my next question.
Yeah.
How do you become
How do you
a part
do it?
of the Jeff Committee? What is
Sure.
it? What's the process? What does it mean to be nominated or selected for an award? That
Right.
whole process. I'd love to hear about that.
I'll take the first part. You can take the second part.
Sure.
So in terms of membership, we have a membership application online on our website, jeffawards.org. And so anybody that's interested can complete that application. And then we have a membership committee who reaches out to those individuals and conducts an interview with them. And from there, we select new members to join. As we had spoken before, one of our goals is to ensure that we have better and greater diversity on our committee. That for many years, the Jeff Awards was known as a group of old white men, and my personal mission has been to change that.
Okay.
And we still have a ways to go, but we're absolutely moving in the right direction, not just in terms of racial diversity, but also in terms of age. For example, our 2 newest members of our committee are in their mid-20s,
Okay.
which we're so excited about.
Yeah.
And over the past several years, we have reduced the overall average age of the committee.
Which was previously...
Probably in the mid...
92.
It was up there.
It was up there.
It was up there.
Okay.
It was up there, and it's come down quite a bit, and hopefully will continue to come down with our recruitment efforts. But the time commitment
And that's
is
why,
a real barrier to membership. So one of the things we did was reduce our required time commitment to only seeing 50% of recommended productions. Before that, it was 75%.
Okay.
So we're hoping by reducing the amount of shows that people have to see, that they might be able to accommodate the Jeff Awards and what it's all about in their schedule. Did you want to talk a little bit about recommendation
Sure, yeah.
and what that means?
Yeah. So every month, the theaters reach out to myself as non-equity wing chair, and then our equity wing chair, Paulette Petretti, as well, to kind of let them know what shows are opening in the next month that they would like to invite us for adjudication.
Okay.
5 members are randomly assigned based on their schedules, so we don't get to like pick which shows we're going to see. Okay. Based on our schedules, we're assigned a show to go to for opening. We attend the opening night. We don't converse. We don't kind of talk about what we thought about the show. And then we go home. We submit votes via email of what we believe to be excellent. So it's basically like if we were to nominate something right then and there, what would we nominate? If an element happens to get 5 votes, the same element gets 5 votes, like we all voted for direction of the show, then the show would automatically get recommended.
Okay.
If nothing gets 5 votes, but it gets 21 total votes, then the show will also get recommended. So if a mixture of everything gets us to 21.
And is this a form? Is it a how many things are they different things are they voting on?
There's actually 24 elements that are spelled out for us, and then there's an other category.
Okay.
So you'll find in the award shows we have a category called artistic specialization, which is kind of a catch-all category that doesn't include all of our other categories. So things that might pop up in that category are things like puppet design, hair and makeup, wig design, things like that might have been outstanding in that particular show and was deserving of mention. So those kind of things fall in that artistic specialization category.
So really anything that you see in the show
anything
that you really love. I mean, I voted for an animal before, you know. So it's like, it did not get nominated, but
darn.
you know,
I'll miss opportunity there.
Yeah.
And I think that there's like a misconception sometimes that if a show isn't Jeff recommended, then that means that we're saying that the show was bad or that it's not worthy of an audience or something like that. I mean, it could just be possible that the votes just didn't fall in a certain order. So a lot of shows that don't get Jeff recommended still had plenty of votes. And we certainly still wish them all the best of success with the run. And I think we've all seen a show before where we personally loved it and it ends up not getting Jeff recommended. So once the show is recommended, then it's opened up to the entire committee to go see. So those 5 people that saw it, they don't have to see it again, but the other 45 or so people are able to go and see the show. And then they go and basically do the exact same process. So they can go at any point during the run, and then they're provided with a ballot that they fill out. They continue to do that throughout the year, and once the season is done, we have statisticians that collect all of that data to come up with a final ballot for nominations.
And it's not the artists with the greatest number of votes. It's important to know that the nominees are chosen on a percentage basis because a different number of judges may attend different shows. But what we have found year over year over year that in the performance categories, a performer usually has to capture over 90% of the committee's vote because it's so competitive to be a nominee. In the design categories, less votes are cast, so a lower percentage could qualify those individuals for nomination. But in the performance arenas, it's really competitive.
Wow. So we have the votes, we get the recommendation, we have the percentage, and then we go to the awards.
Yes, then we have our nominees have been chosen, and then there's a final ballot that has only those nominees on it that go out to all the Jeff members. So they vote on that final ballot, and that is what determines the actual recipient of the Jeff Award.
They vote. Do they only vote if they've seen the show?
Correct.
You have to have seen the show.
You have to have seen the show.
Great. So this is good. Now I feel like I know a lot more information. I know we're sharing a lot more just in terms of, you said you're changing the demographics of the people who are on the committee, and so where do those fall about right now?
Some of the statistics I know just because I've been filling out grant applications lately. So I can tell you that we have about 18% that are people of color. We have over 30% that are LGBTQ. Our average age has come down about 9 years. I don't remember the exact number, but it's come down quite a bit. So again, we still have a ways to go, but we are definitely further down that road than we were 5 years ago. And so I think that's really all we can ask for is to keep moving in that direction. and making sure that inclusivity is always at the top of our priority list.
Got it.
So, yeah.
And then I know that you have some exciting news to share as far as opportunities
Yes.
and the Chicago community. And so what do you got going on?
Yeah, so we made this announcement at the Non-Equity Award Show. Due to a generous donation that was gifted to the Jeff Awards, we now have a fellowship that we are able to award. It's called the Jeff Impact Fellowship. And for this first year, we will be awarding 2 artists of color who are in their early to mid-stage careers, awards of $10,000 each to help support their creative artistry. And we are really excited about this opportunity.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That's amazing. And how do people find out more information?
Yes. All they have to do is go to our website, which is jeffawards.org. And when you bring up our website, you'll actually see a link that says click here for Jeff Impact Fellowship. And it will provide for them a narrative as well as instructions to how to fill out the application form. The application period will go until June 30th. Yes.
Yeah.
So it will close on June 30th. It is open as we speak.
Is this just actors? Is it?
No, great question.
Yeah.
No, it's for any artist in Chicago that's an artist of color. So it could be a designer, director, choreographer, producer. It could be anybody that's affiliated with the Chicago theater scene.
Great. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great opportunity. Great
Absolutely.
opportunity. Well, thank you all so much. I feel like I know so much more. Hopefully, all of you all know so much more as well. Is there anything I missed? Is there anything else you just like us to know? Are you taking applications right now? Do you have to wait till kind of the season starts over for most theaters? Is it rolling?
Are you talking about for the fellowship or for membership?
For the membership.
For membership, we take applications year round.
Okay. And is there a fee for membership?
There is.
Okay.
Our only one thing maybe we should say is that for some reason everyone thinks we are made of money and we are a very poor organization. I am here to let
Empty your
everyone
pockets.
know
Let me
that.
check. No, I'm just kidding.
Our only sources of income are our membership dues and private donations. All we have are our membership dues. So
And how much are the dues?
they are currently at $350 a year. But when you consider the large number of shows that you get to see, free of charge.
The shows are free.
Yes, the
Yeah.
shows are
Okay.
complimentary. Yes,
Okay.
to Jeff members. Yes.
So if we want to be a member, just go online and apply.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Great. Anything else from the Jeffs?
I mean, I would just say, and I know I've said this to John before, like, there's a seat at the table. The table is big enough for everyone.
Yes.
And that's what I love about Chicago theater and what I'm loving about the Jeffs and as we continue to move forward. It's the table is always big enough, and if it's not big enough, you add a leaf into the table, you make it a little bit bigger
Yeah.
so that the table can have more people at it. One of the beautiful things about opening it up for world languages is we saw this world of Spanish language theater we had never seen. I know there has to be theater out there in Chicago that's in Mandarin, in German, and in American Sign Language, anything that we've never had the chance to see before. And we really want these companies to reach out to us and say, hey, I'm here, I want to be seen, I want to have that seat at the table, because there's so much excellent work being done out there. I know I speak for the committee when I say, like, we're excited to see it. So.
Well, thank you both for being here. This was a great conversation.
Thank you.
We're excited to see who the 2 awardees will be from this new fellowship opportunity. And I can't wait for next year, 50 years of
Non-equity.
the non-equity
exciting.
Jeffs.
It's gonna be
So
exciting.
Yes, and
a
the
big
Equity
anniversary.
Award show is October 2nd. Mark your calendars now.
Well,
So,
I'll put it in there right away.
Great.
All right.
Thanks so
Count
much
me
for
in.
having us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you both.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right.
Next up is our Fresh Faces segment, where you'll get to know some of the people working behind the scenes to help our industry thrive. We'll interview administrators, technicians, and creators across our membership about their careers, organizations, and artistic pursuits. This month we went to Edgewater to speak with Ellen Campbell, the Audience Services Manager at Raven Theater.
Hi everyone, my name is Haley Ross and I am the Marketing Director at the League of Chicago Theaters. We are here at Raven Theater filming the Fresh Faces segment of the vodcast where we go out into the community and meet with some of our members. I'm here with Ellen Campbell, the Audience Services Manager at Raven Theater. Ellen, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Raven.
Yeah, so I'm the Audience Services Manager. What I love the most about my job is that I serve as a core administrator during the day, and then at night I get to kind of switch into show mode, be here to welcome patrons into the space, hang out with our amazing front of house staff, and kind of see all of the work come to fruition and hang out with our patrons.
Awesome. And tell us a little bit about your background in theater and how you got to this point.
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Idaho, and I didn't actually come to Illinois until 2016. I earned my MFA in acting at Northern Illinois University, landed in Chicago May of 2019, got some amazing front of house jobs, which front of house and hospitality has always been so near and dear to my heart. It's always been, if I'm not acting on stage, I enjoy being in this setting. And then, of course, the pandemic happened, which was a very scary time, but then this position opened up, and I just thought it was the perfect next step for me in terms of staying within that hospitality, patron services avenue, and then adding a bit of like an administrator responsibility into that.
Amazing. Raven has an upcoming show that's going to open in a couple of weeks. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so The October Storm by Joshua Allen is going to be our closer outer of our 40th season, which is so cool. So if you were here last year and you saw the last pair of earlies, you know, of course, that's also a Josh Allen play. So this is the second installment of a trilogy that we're so excited to welcome back into the space, and that will open on May 11th.
Amazing. And we are standing in front of some very cool equipment, a project you guys have been working on. Tell us a little bit about what these are.
Yeah. So I've been, over the past couple of years, collaborating closely with Matt Bivens at Caption Point, going from an open captioning system, which is a large screen in front of or somewhere within the frame of the stage, and switching over to kind of a closed captioning system, which is a bit more of a personal experience. It's a much smaller screen that you can see that just sits directly on a stand in front of the patron's seat, so they don't have to kind of ping pong their field of vision so much. It's all just kind of right there for them. And I love the stands because, you know, you can make it, adjust it to their height, whatever's comfortable, you can angle it. And we've got, of course, the two different sizes. This one is great because you can sit anywhere in the theater with this one. And then this one is a little bit larger if you want to share maybe with the person that you're attending with, or you just want to sit in the front seat and have a little bit more space in front of you. So this has been a really exciting development. Next step would be to go wireless. So we're excited about that.
Awesome. That is a very exciting development, and I'm sure patrons are really excited to have this system available.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what our members could do if they wanted to rent one of the spaces. There's multiple theaters here, lobby space. Tell us a little bit about the spaces and how someone might go to rent it.
Yeah, so we have two performance spaces. We've got the Johnson stage and the Schwartz stage. The Johnson stage is our larger 85-seat proscenium that Raven does all three of our productions in. Outside of that, it's totally available. Then, of course, we have our smaller 65-seat proscenium called the Schwartz stage, which is the theater that we rent out most often throughout the year. We've also got, of course, our parking lot. We've got our lobby. So we have a number of different options for rentals if you need just a performance or rehearsal space for a few hours during the week, or if you have a organizational meeting that you need to host or committee that needs to meet, or you want to do a parking lot event, or you want to rent out several weeks for a performance. We've got all kinds of options. If you go to raventheater.com, hit the Rent With Us tab, that actually has a ton of information and a little form you can fill out if you're interested in renting space with us, or you can email us at info@raventheater.com.
Awesome. And close us out with one or two fun facts about Raven that you think everyone should know.
Absolutely. I'm really excited about our education department. Michelle Moe is our education director, who's fabulous. We've got over 14 teaching artists that reach over 800 students around Chicago at different schools throughout the year. And then, of course, we have a really, really robust summer camp, which just brings a very fresh and exciting energy into the space for a few weeks in the summer. And then another fun fact that we have, this space that we're in right now, 6157 North Clark Street, used to be the location of a grocery store called Granville Certified Grocery. You can still see a lot of the old structure, like these very cool wood beams. This space, as far as I understand it, was sitting empty for a few years before Raven was searching for a new home after they moved out of their Rogers Park home, and the alderman at the time was really motivated to help Raven find their new home and worked really hard to get us into this space, and it's been wonderful for us. We've got office spaces, we've got the 2 theaters. It's amazing.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to talk with us, and we are really looking forward to the October Storm opening soon. Thanks.
Next up is our Art in the Office series, where we head out into offices and rehearsal rooms across Chicago to preview some of the exciting work coming soon to our stages. This month, we visited the Shattered Globe Theater to hear a selection from their upcoming production of London Road. Hi, everyone. I'm Jamie Abelson, and welcome to the In the Office segment of the podcast, where we head out into the community and talk to people in rehearsal rooms and theaters around the city about their productions. I am here with Elizabeth Margolius, director of London Road at Shattered Globe Theater. Tonight, they have their first run-through with previews starting tomorrow, and so we're just here to talk about the production and get a little sneak peek of the show. Elizabeth, tell me, how did you first come into contact with this production?
So about 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, a dear friend of mine and colleague, Darren Leonard, who is associate director on this production, introduced me to this piece. And he said, this is something that I think is right up your alley, and you should take a listen. And I immediately did, and immediately fell in love with it. I knew I had to do it.
Fantastic. So this is something you've wanted to do for a long time?
Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful. And this show is based on a true story and uses source material from people from Ipswich, UK.
Yes.
And I read that you traveled to UK to
Yes.
get a sense of the town where the show takes place. Can you tell us a little bit about what that experience was like?
Yeah, absolutely. So because the musical is a verbatim musical, everything taken precisely from the words of the community of Ipswich, Darren and I decided that it would be a good idea to travel to London, and then took a train to Ipswich so that we could actually walk down London Road, see the community where it all took place. We actually visited many of the sites, the courthouses, the 2 courthouses, the road itself, and it really has informed how I've approached the piece in terms of staging and design and concept. So it was an incredible trip in many ways to be there in person.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about what the show is about.
So the piece revolves around an event in 2006 in which 5 sex workers were murdered. The fascinating thing about the piece itself is it's not necessarily about that event. It's about the community's response to that event, which varied. And so it's sort of a study of how a community behaves when they are faced with tragic events. So it's a fascinating piece that sort of brings us through from the time in which the bodies were found all the way until the murderer was actually convicted, and sort of brings us through their reactions to the events as they unfolded.
Wow. And is there anything that you learned from that experience and spending time with the material and in the town that led to any specific decisions about this production and how you went about creating this particular production?
Yeah, I knew first of all, it's a very complicated production in every way. Musically, as far as the staging, we have an incredible music director, Andrea Vila-Simon, but it's who's just done amazing things with the score. But I think I knew before I went to Ipswich that I really wanted to employ live feeds because all of the residents were interviewed on camera for the most part. It was important to me to make a study of how we behave in public versus how we behave in private. And so I was very interested in finding a way to create a public space on stage versus private spaces. And I think you'll see that we've done that. And so right before our eyes, we see things that are on these live feeds versus happening right in front of us. And you can start to see what people say and how they say it differently, dependent on who is surrounding them at the time.
Wow, and so you have the challenges of having the source material, and this is based on real events and real people. Are there any other particular challenges to this production?
The production is just challenging in general. I think the other challenge is that there's an 11-person ensemble who plays 66 roles, many different dialects, many different ages, many different personalities.
Wow.
So at times, an actor will have to switch from one character to another within 20 seconds. They're there at one point, and at another point there's someone else. So it really, the skill that is required to create these characters, to sing the music, to accomplish the movement, all of it is quite astounding, along with all of the design elements and the complications of the cameras as well. So
it sounds like a complicated show for the actors, but probably also for the understudies.
We have an incredible group of understudies, 7 of them who have been completely present through the entire process, and all of them are ready at a moment's notice to move into these roles. And it's really between the ensemble and the understudies, it has truly been one of the most collaborative experiences I've ever had in a rehearsal room. It's truly been a special experience for me.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for taking the time on this very busy day, your first run-through, to talk to us about the show. Again, this is London Road with the Shattered Globe Theatre. They're performing at Theatre Wit. The show opens on April 22nd and closes on June 3rd, 2023. You can find out all the information and get tickets at their website, sgtheater.org. Have a wonderful time with this production, and thanks for speaking with us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us for this podcast episode from the League of Chicago Theaters. If you are in the Chicago theater industry and you want to learn more about our events and programs, head to leagueofchicagotheaters.org. If you are a theater lover looking for things to experience, head over to chicagoplays.com for a comprehensive list of all the work going on at our member theaters. You can also head to hottix.org to look for half-price tickets across the city. If you are inspired by the work that you heard about today, please do not hesitate to go to chicagoplays.com/donate to help support our efforts. Thank you for all that you do for the Chicago theater community, and we'll see you next month.